April 24th meeting to order at 7:07. Kevin, could you please take a roll call vote?
Mr. Dickerson. Here. Ms. Gerber.
Here.
Mr. Pollock.
Here.
Mr. Thacker.
Here.
Ms. Elliott.
Here.
Mr. Campbell is absent.
Yes.
We have 5 members present, which does constitute a quorum.
All right, can you all stand for the pledge, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First of all, I'd like to thank everyone for coming tonight. We've got a pretty big agenda, but hopefully we'll get through this. First order of business, we have a guest of council, a representative from AmeriCorps. So if you'd like to come forward, please.
Thank you. I just wanted to come back and thank everybody who helped with the collections during our disaster relief collections during AmeriCorps Week of 2012. On behalf of AMVETS Career Center and AmeriCorps, to give you a brief overview of what we collected during our collections, we had over 120 containers of deodorant, 70 rolls of toilet paper and paper towels, 94 things of toothpaste, along with many other personal hygiene products, first aid supplies, cleaning products, socks, underwear, tarps, water, garbage cans, tools, and various other much-needed items. We were also able to collect over $140, which was given to Park National Bank's disaster relief fund that they had set up. I'd also like to thank the College of Social Work at Ohio State University, the Dean, and Lisa Durham for their collections, the Village of Amelia Council and staff for allowing us to use the facility to store the items and helping with collection. As an AmeriCorps member, we have the ability to recognize those who helped us as honorary AmeriCorps members. Following people, I have certificates for everyone, I can give them to you, but I'd just like to thank Ricky Rowland for his help, Linda Sheely, Stacy Dickerson, Kathy Kirshner, Police Chief David Friend, Councilman Chris Dickerson, Renee Gerber, Vice Mayor Bob Pollitt, Todd Hart, Derek Campbell, Chuck Thacker, and Susan Elliott for your help. It was pretty successful, so I just wanted to take time to say thank you to everyone. And I can give you these now or whenever is good.
Okay.
And are you an introducer, or you just said a representative? You didn't even put her name out.
Hello, sir.
Oh.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, darling.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, babe.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And thank you.
Thank you.
And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, moving down to the approval of the previous meeting minutes. Meeting minutes, April 10th, 2012. Whenever council is ready, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion over the minutes? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Mr. Dickerson. Yay. Ms. Gerber.
Yay.
Mr. Pollock.
Yay.
Mr. Thacker.
Yay.
Ms. Elliott.
Yay.
5 with 1 absent. Passes.
Next item of business is the approval of the bills. Everybody have a copy of the bills? This time I would entertain a motion on the approval of the bills.
I'll make a motion to pay the bills. Approve paying of the bills.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion on the bills? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Mr. Dickerson.
Yay.
Ms. Gerber.
Yay.
Mr. Paulin.
Yay.
Mr. Thacker.
Yay.
Ms. Elliott.
Yay.
Passes 5, 1 absent.
Thank you. Next order of business, we'll get into our reports. Police Chief David Frank.
Hi, Council Mayor.
Chief.
We had a lot going on here in March. Warm weather's hit, of course, and we have a lot of different things. First, I want to make sure that everybody's aware of the National Take Back Initiative for the drugs, the unused or expired drugs. We'll be here Saturday morning, and it's from 10 to 2. We've put flyers in most of the businesses, the pharmacies, and even the churches. So we should have a good turnout on that. So we do that in April and October. We had several things going on. Always, probably in every council meeting, I always want to say we had many warrants served and fees collected. We also had something unusual going in Amelia. Only the second time the Drug Task Force has seen this in Claremont County, but we had an actual mushroom grow. And it's not the mushroom that you put on your pizzas or the kind you find in the woods. These are hallucinogen mushrooms. And you can buy all this equipment off of eBay, but when you put all this equipment together and start manufacturing this, then it turns into felonies. Having kids in the house escalates that. So we're looking at felony 1s and felony 2s, and that's very serious. Along with this mushroom grow, we had another product called MDT, and it's a big long name. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that, but it's also hallucinogen, and we had 2 big mason jars full of that. So they actually had 2 manufacturing processes going in the same residence. So after that, we had an OVI, a particular OVI arrest happened these last few weeks, and the person was actually going 80 miles an hour in a 35-mile-an-hour zone down east on Main Street. Luckily, the Officer Wood got the suspect stopped, and she wasn't fleeing, she was just going that fast. She was charged with multiple counts, and she ended up pleading guilty in this last mayor's court. But she was stopped and without incident, and was lucky that he spotted her and got that under control. There's felonious assault with a gun in Deer Creek. The suspect charged, and he actually made a guilty plea. This gun was a old Western cow gun, but they didn't paint them red back then. And the guy that he pointed out actually thought it was a real gun because it was a big barrel like this pointed at him right at a particular time, and that's what the whole charge was about. The other was a cell phone theft. We had a customer at Amelia Restaurant, like we do sometimes. We get up, we leave our phones, and we come back in, hurry and come back in, hope it's still there. But in this case, it wasn't. It was unfortunate for the suspect. When he got it home, he turned it on, and it pinged at his address. And we didn't find the phone. He ended up destroying it before we could get to it. But the guy was caught, and he pled guilty to that this last mayor's court, and reimbursed the person for the fine. We had somebody was trying to sell a 24-foot trailer from the back of Golden Rule Catering off of Craigslist. They even had pictures of it. They cut the lock off. They put their own lock on. So when they showed it to the people, they just took out the key and unlocked the lock like it was theirs. So the guy didn't fall for it because when they lowered the back door, he saw the catering tables, chairs, and other equipment inside, which was worth actually more than the trailer itself. So he didn't buy it right then. Next day, he called the Golden Rule Catering Company, and they said, we didn't have a trailer for sale. So it came to find out that this guy was trying to make a fast buck off of somebody else off Craigslist, and give him the money, and he was going to run with it. So we got a friend of theirs, and he was texting this and thought maybe he'd meet up with this guy the next day at noon so we could try to apprehend this guy. So we thought at noon that would be we weren't sure about noon because the business would be open. So we decided to settle in the trailer that night, and sure enough, here come a white dually truck pulling in there. And we were staking out, and when they got on the main street, Pierce Township and us surrounded it like Indians surrounded the covered wagon. We got the 2 suspects in the truck, hauling it out. We got the trailer, but there was a third guy that was supposed to meet him at Butterbee's because this was 2 other guys out of Columbus that were trying to buy the vehicle off Craigslist too. They was just, I guess they were, I don't know what they were thinking about going back with closed business and giving the money to somebody 6 miles away, but we had to get the third guy. So he gave us permission to use that truck, and we drove it to Butterbean's, and we made a third arrest there at Butterbean's. The guy that came up to the truck and found, but he found a police officer instead. So we got that guy too. We got that guy too. And so it was nice to prevent something for a change. A lot of times we get to take these reports of thefts, but it's so nice to get in front of this to save people's property, protect their property. There was a car stolen from Hunter's Court, and the officer had to recover within 24 hours, but it turned out to be a family member, so it was an unauthorized use of a vehicle they didn't know they had. They just came and took it. But we did get that car back from them. And today, in Sedona and Quail Creek, we took a lot of theft in cars, kids getting in cars and rifling through the cars. These are crimes of opportunity. Lock your car doors. They're after loose change, GPS, and anything light that they can carry. So please lock your cars. Make it more difficult for those guys. Today at Facets, we received a call of a baby unattended in a motor vehicle. We kind of hurriedly went there and found in this red vehicle there was not only one baby, there were 2 babies in the car. So the guy walked in the Facets, and there he is shopping at Facets. So we took the guy out, we charged him with 2 counts of child endangering, we released two siblings to the mother of the suspect. So that was pretty sad. His court date is May 7th, and he was charged with those counts. That was on Channel 12, if you missed it. That was on today. Linda is attending the records training at Kent State. We were very busy today. I think Julie was running back and forth like it was really busy today. So she's attending that training all week. The Amelia Police Department and met with the safety committee, and we figured out disaster plans and officer arrival at the scene. They're going to be talked about a little later by the safety committee. I want to give you the bulletproof vest update. They are delayed a month. So we not only got expired vest in April, now we got expired vest another month. And I'm not sure if you just don't want the officers with the expired vest to go to Roy Taylor's and get fitted, because once we order those vests, it's going to take another 6 weeks to get those vests because they're custom to the officer's shape. So we might want to talk about that. At the Amelia Business Association meeting, they still have teams that they can get in for their fundraiser and the golf scramble. So contact one of those members of the Business Association meeting. The Claremont Chiefs Association meeting, we were fortunate enough to tour the FBI, the new FBI building near Kenwood Mall. It's a fantastic facility. Then on the public safety aspect of this, I have comparisons between March 11 and March 12. I don't know where that 37 come from in traffic citations, but in the month of March, we were at 89 traffic citations. Just a few short months ago, it was hard to believe that the combination between misdemeanor traffic and fines that cost for warrants and things like that reached a record low of 1,500. I want to happy to announce that in the month of March, we went over 10,000. And that's kind of short-lived because now here in the month of April, and there's maybe almost a week left, we're over 11,000. So those guys I told you those guys are getting out there and doing it, and they are. There's some papers here on exactly what the citations were for, misdemeanors and things like that. I want to give you a little diagram. I always got a little picture for you to look at here. If you kind of wanted to, just a view of how much effort's put into everything, the orange on here. The orange on there represents the traffic. Everything else is all the other calls. There's calls by nature, and some of those calls, they're not all. There's other calls there that are, the numbers relate to different other local calls, but at the top you can see a little bit of with you match the color in comparison of kind of what we did this last month in March. And that's, there I have it in a nutshell. So. Any questions or comments or anything?
You had 91 hang-ups on 9/11?
Yeah. We have, no, wait a minute, where's that?
That's the code.
That's the code. That's what they call a 911.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
No, they want to save that extra one.
Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah. And then it all goes by code numbers. As a matter of fact, it falls in relation to, as you talk on the radio and give a certain code, those are the codes that you see at the top. So they kind of, on our system we have now, that's kind of how they go in identifying
Okay.
different things. Like the T1 would be the orange, would be traffic stops.
Chief, I'd like to make a comment. First of all, I'd like to commend the police officers on an outstanding job for what they're doing. And to touch on this trailer thing a little bit to council, it was kind of funny. The night this was going on, I came back up here, and Chief was on his own time in his own car and did this stakeout, basically just because of a hunch. And he did it at will, not to be paid or anything else. So I think that speaks highly of him and the whole department for him to put that much effort to go out there and set all night long, having no idea if these people were even going to show up. And lo and behold, they did. So I just wanted to say thanks, Chief. You guys are doing an outstanding job.
Was the trailer still behind Golden Rule?
The trailer was pulled. Yeah, the trailer was because
And then they
left it
cut
like
off
what?
Carol's lock and put
Yes,
it.
and they put their own lock on it, just so it would convince the buyer that it was theirs. Now, that's the guy that was the first guy. The other two guys didn't care. If he wouldn't had something down to Butterbeans or a title or something like that, I don't think he would have brought it back and said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm just gonna bring that."
Yeah.
That's not that what happens.
Do we want to talk about the vest now? Chief's out
You
there.
go ahead and bring that up. Sure, a lot of
Yeah,
Chiefs
I'd
there.
like to. When you say delayed a month, is it through the manufacturer or
No,
is
this is the application that we would put in through the Bureau of Justice to even get half back from the grant that we
That
would
we
receive.
had discussed.
So those applications are delayed a month to even put them into the justice. Now, once we pay for those vests, you get reimbursed half back. It takes a whole while to do that, but you have to buy the vest up front, then get your money back, half back.
So are you waiting for the okay from us?
Yeah, I sort of am.
Yes.
I was wanting to kind of do this when I had an application already in, and that way I could tell you, hey, I have an application in, it's all set, we're good, but now the delayed a month, so I think it's becoming an issue now, a liability issue for the village. So I just want to make sure that we stay on top of this because I know how long it takes to get a vest. And once you do order a vest, so, and to get fitted, and there's like 6 or 7 of them that have to go and get fitted, which this time, because everybody kind of got a new vest in 2006, so now it's time to get it.
I'd like to, does anybody else want to ask about it?
Do we know what these vests cost? I mean, what's the cost we're looking at?
Probably between $650 and $750.
And
Per
then,
vest.
You said 6 or 7 vests?
Yeah,
and then,
I think it's, I'm pretty sure it's 7.
and then the half back
The
for
half.
the grant.
Yes, the halfback for the grant, and
Is that per vest?
they're not in a
too?
hurry to give you. Yeah, 650, 2650, and that all depends on the size of the officer, so it's hard for me to.
Well, I meant for the grant. Is the grant half on each
It's half on each vest.
one?
Supposed to
So
be.
you're just saying
you're
it's gonna
talking
take a longer time
$3,000-$4,000.
for us to get our money back off of
It will. They're in no hurry to give grant money to anyone, but eventually they do. I heard they were slow.
So unless that's my math's wrong, it's $5,250 roundabouts for 7 vests at $750 a vest.
If the high dollar, $750. Yeah.
Well, I always go high. Then it's better when it goes back low.
That's right. That's what I would do.
What's council feel?
I'd like to make a motion we get the best.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion on it?
Before we do this, is one of our people up here gonna be able to vote for an issue like this? I mean,
If she wants to consult with me on that, I can consult
It
with
would-
her.
it would carry
okay,
with-
I
it
would
carry
like her
without
to
it
do
anyway.
that. Can we take it? Okay.
No.
It's 4 of us. That's enough, I think.
It's not like we really got much choice anyways, because they're
Right.
expired. I mean,
Are you
nobody wants
okay?
them out there in expired vests.
All right. Roll call vote.
Mr. Dickerson.
Yay.
Ms. Gerber.
Yay.
Mr. Pollock.
Yay.
Mr. Thacker.
Yay.
Ms. Elliott.
Abstain.
We have 4 ayes, 1 abstention, 1 absent. With a quorum, that passes.
All right, thank you, Karen. Thank you, Chief. Anything else?
No, that's it. Thank you.
We have the fire chief's report. Didn't think we were getting to you, did you? What's that?
You just love being here anyway.
Yes.
Hi.
Not much to report. You did get the monthly report, I believe, from Julie last week. Fairly busy month. We had 49 EMS calls, 7 fire incidents, nothing of any major significance. Excuse me. Out of that, we had 33 transports. So fairly busy month. Probably one of our busiest months we've had in quite a long time, other than that. But evened out pretty much night and day. There was 25 day incidents, 24 night incidents. And average response times, EMS was 5.4 minutes and fire calls was 5.6. Any questions, comments, concerns?
Oh, we got one.
Could I ask you something? Around 2.5 to 3 weeks ago, house being built next to us on Cedarwood Drive.
Mm-hmm.
A Sardinia cement truck drove in to where he shouldn't have been driving. And, reinforcement rod punctured the fuel tank.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of fuel, kerosene, leaked out. I called the dispatcher. They sent the fire department
Correct.
and the police department. Is that in any record showing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a fire report that was made out for that incident. If you'd like a copy, just give us a call, we'll get you a copy.
Was anything done about that? Or?
Yeah, there was a call, and I'd have to look at the report on about how much fuel was spilled. But if there's anything much more than a gallon, it has to be, EPA has to be notified. And then the trucking company, which would be Sardinia Concrete, is responsible for all the
Yeah,
cleanup.
by the time your fire department got there, the repair truck for Sardinia was already unwelding the tank and putting the tubing on.
Right.
It was quite a bit of fuel, no matter what they said. The guy tried to, excuse me, patch it up with mud, and then next thing you know, he's got, say a 5-gallon plastic tank.
Right,
It was filling that thing up so fast, and it already leaked all over the place.
all over the place.
So I thank you for that.
You're welcome. I can check and then get back to you.
Well, I was just wondering.
But yeah.
Got swept under the rug, so to speak.
No,
That's-
it's required to report to the EPA. And,
I'm glad of that. Thanks, sir.
You're welcome.
Appreciate the answer.
You're welcome.
Anyone else have any questions for Chief?
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Chief.
Thanks.
Works reports, Mr. Rick Rowland, please.
Good
How are
evening.
you?
Good evening. Fine, how are you? Good. Short report this time, which is good. Just a brief note about mowing. We've started mowing quite earlier this year. We are now under contract with an outside party to do the parks as it stands at this point. Public Works are doing the cemeteries and municipal building and a few small areas. But the major parks and all the major areas being mowed by the outside company. Flags for main streets, they've been ordered, they've already been received. We received ones for the cemetery, and I have to order just the ones for the different branches. And they will go up probably the second week of May in that time area, somewhere in there. I always like to have them up early before Memorial Day. Grove Park, we have started back on Grove Park. It's about finished as of today. We put in 50 yards of gravel today, another 16 will go in tomorrow. The perimeter will be finished up, and then we'll have to level and seed. So I expect to have that completely done before the end of the week, without any hard rain or anything coming. Uniforms have been purchased and received. Also, we had quite a little bit left over of the 600 that was allotted, and we bought T-shirts with that, and we still have a balance left over that will be kept in the fund. And then lastly, Easter egg hunt, we participated in that. And that's about it. There's a breakdown on the uniforms that I sent to show you the expense and how the breakdown even down to the hour of purchasing them compared to this.
Huge difference.
And on the flags, the American Legion was donated the flags as they always do. Usually it's 40 flags, American flags, and 3 or 4 POW flags. The Veteran Commission has donated 150 flags that we need for the cemeteries, although Walgreens are in the process of donating some sort of leftover carryover.
All right.
Any questions?
Questions for Rick? Thank you, Rick.
Thank you.
Oh, Rick,
Yes.
when does Shank Park get mowed again?
I think per our agreement, it's always during the latter part of the week, so it should be probably starting tomorrow and I'm not sure end of the week.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
I'm still hunting.
Okay.
All right, Finance Committee report.
Really not a whole, I don't know, I don't really have much of a report tonight. We spent a lot of time recently talking about their raises and, whether we're growing bonuses or raises. I was kind of hoping to wrap that up tonight, but unfortunately Derek couldn't be here. So I guess we'll probably have something for us at the next council meeting, I'm hoping. Because that should fall, we should be good on that, right? Our next council meeting is going to be the 15th? Or was that right?
22nd, right?
Or the 22nd?
Maybe
8th. 8th.
Good.
Okay, yeah, that would be perfect. Yeah.
We're in May almost already.
Yes.
Yes, okay, perfect. Yeah, we should have something on that. I mean, just from our preliminary discussions, it looks like the money's there. It's kind of more of a debate as far as what do we want to do as far as raises or bonuses, how big of a raise. It looks like we're probably going to have money too to be looking at hiring a couple more part-time officers. We just kind of wanted to wrap up the last few and loose ends before we came up.
Very good. Any other discussion on that? Recreation Commission report.
As I mentioned at our last meeting, we were happy to report that the Easter egg hunt was a huge success, with more than 3,000 eggs hidden for the kids to find, with candy and prizes aplenty. The Amelia PTA was a great help in this function, and we thank them for collecting eggs and candy. Also, again, want to thank Ricky and Chuck for all their help. The commission will put together an after-action report, and we will pass that along hopefully after our next meeting. I would like, if anybody has any suggestions, the biggest one I think that we would like to see changed is not use hay anymore. Ricky had a great idea of not mowing that week before and let the grass get a little higher. I think aesthetically it will look much prettier, and with the amount of the younger kids, we're gonna have to look about expanding that whole area. It was just, I think there are too many kids in a little spot. I was going by the last meeting because I was not there. Couple things we're also looking into is, I know we have a $1 Million Great American Ballpark. I don't know if we're gonna do that again. It was just on the report, so I thought I would put it in here if anybody would be. I know that Amelia, the PTA was selling Reds tickets today or something, but of course my child doesn't seem fit for me to have any of that information. So, the other one is a Facebook. We want to try to do Facebook, and so hopefully we can get that on there so everybody knows what's going on. They can go on there and give us feedback or what they kind of like to see. We'll check with our solicitor because she's giving me the stink eye. Other suggestions, other events is the Cruising in Amelia, the Skate Fest. I think we're looking back into the movie night. I don't know how that's going to play out, and then of course the coming up National Night Out.
I should have a program for next meeting for the cruise-ins.
Okay.
The previous, already set dates, in other words.
Okay.
Took a while to run that feller down, but anyway, it's in the process.
All right. Anything else? Thank you, Renee. Safety committee report.
We really don't have much more to report other than we put the plans, I guess we put more into thinking the plans of the disaster if something would happen in Amelia. Chris, myself, and Todd and the chief all met. The chief did a great job coming up with a statement of purpose, pretty much putting everything in line as to who goes where, who does what. He did a head count of our walkie-talkies. I can read off some stuff here. He figured out how many portable radios we have, chemical masks, anything like that, AED units if needed. And again, we did discuss the 2 points will end up being St. Bernadette and the elementary school. If one's taken out, the other one will be. But he did a great job just talking about how, what the police will do, how it'll go. The chief will do one thing. The mayor, all the council members will meet here. And he did a great job outlining all of that information. If you have any questions about it, you're more than welcome to see me, and I can discuss it with you more, so I don't have to go through it all right now. The other thing is also on May 2nd, the council is invited to the Communications Center in Batavia. It'll be at 7 p.m. To have a tour.
Are we going to meet here first and then go over? Is that what we're going to do?
I would say, yeah,
Meet here
depending
at
on
6:30?
7 o'clock. Yeah, we have to be there at 7, so to meet here maybe about 6:30.
What day?
Whoever would like to go. It is on May 2nd. That would normally be our safety committee meeting. Yeah, it's on a Wednesday evening. So if any council members would like to go, see Chris or myself or Todd or the chief, and we can kind of set up how many people want to go and carpool or whatever. So it should be pretty interesting to see what goes on there. I think it'll be pretty exciting. And if there's any concerns also with residents as far as safety or things that you want to discuss or bring up or have checked into, please let us know. Because we're just starting this committee and we want to do our best to keep things safe for everybody. So please see one of us if there's an issue. That's all I got.
All right, thank you, Susan. Next order of business is legislation. We've got it listed here, 12 13/20/21. I'm going to jump around here a little bit and go ahead and read ordinance 02012-21. This is the ordinance for a village zoning inspector. Everybody has that. It's Amelia Village, Ohio, ordinance 0-2012-21, an ordinance appointing Danny Spiegel to the position of village zoning inspector and declaring an emergency. At this time, I need a motion to suspend the rules on 3 separate readings on 3 separate dates.
So moved.
Second. First, I have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Mr. Dickerson.
Yay.
Ms. Gerber.
Yay.
Mr. Paula.
Nay?
Mr. Thacker.
Yay.
Ms. Elliott.
Yay.
Passes 5-0.
Ordinance 0-2012-21, an ordinance appointing Danny Spiegel to the position of village zoning inspector. At this time, I need a motion to adopt.
So moved.
I have a first, I have a second.
I'll second it.
First and a second, any discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Mr. Dickerson.
Yay.
Ms. Gerber.
Yay.
Mr. Paula.
Yay?
Mr. Thacker.
Yay.
Ms. Elliott.
Yay.
Passes 5, 1 absent.
Ordinance 0-2012-21, an ordinance appointing Danny Spiegel to the position of village zoning inspector. At this time, I need a motion for the adoption of the emergency clause.
So moved.
I have a first, I have a second.
I'll second.
First and a second, any discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Mr. Dickerson.
Yay.
Ms. Gerber.
Yay.
Mr. Paula.
Yay?
Mr. Thacker.
Yay.
Ms. Elliott.
Yay.
Passes 5-0, 1 absent.
At this point, Danny, would you like to stand up?
I am Danny Spiegel. I've been a resident of the village for about 19 years. I live on South Klein, right across from the post office, basically. I work with Monroe Township with doing their zoning, and I've done that for 11 and a half years. So I look forward to working with the village and, be on a part-time basis as I do it with Monroe Township. So I will work sort of conglomerate. And, I know the village will be a little bit different than a township, but it's
We're all
not that
supposed to
different.
merge and be one happy family, township and villages. So see, we're trying to put our best foot forward.
Does council have any questions?
Glad you're here.
And I'll set a meeting up so we can get a timeline
Okay, that's fine.
of when you'll start and things.
That's fine.
All right.
And unfortunately, I have another meeting in Monroe Township.
You did that the last time you were here.
I know, see,
I
that's right.
remember.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye.
All right. We'll get back on our regular agenda here. Second legislation is 0-2012-20, 2012-13, agreement with Beaches Lawn Care, and this will be the third reading. Ordinance 0-2012-13, an ordinance authorizing an agreement with Beaches Lawn Care for the cutting of grass and/or weeds determined to be in violation of the Amelia Code of Ordinance. This time I need a motion to adopt.
Second.
First, I have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Mr. Dickerson.
Yay.
Ms. Gerber.
Yay.
Mr. Paula.
Yay.
Mr. Thacker.
Yay.
Ms. Elliott.
Yay.
Passes 5-0, 1 absent.
Ordinance 0-2012-13, an ordinance authorizing an agreement with Beaches Lawn Care for the cutting of grass and/or weeds determined to be in violation of the Amelia Code of Ordinances. At this time, I need a motion for,
It's been
Sorry.
adopted, Mr. Mayor.
Okay.
We had 3
We didn't do
readings.
the emergency clause, so that one got me. No clause. Thank you. Ordinance 0-2011-20, an ordinance waiving the residency requirement of the chief of police. This will serve as a second reading. Ordinance 0-2012-22, an ordinance by the Council of Amelia Village, Ohio, making supplemental appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2012 for Amelia Village. This time I need a motion to suspend the rules on 3 separate dates.
Second.
First and second, any discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Mr. Dickerson.
Yay.
Ms. Gerber.
Yay.
Mr. Pollock.
Yay.
Mr. Thacker.
Yay.
Ms. Elliott.
Yay.
Passes 5-0, 1 absent.
Ordinance 0-2012-22, an ordinance by the Council of Amelia Village, Ohio, making supplemental appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures for the fiscal year ending December 31, 2012 for Amelia Village. This time I need a motion to adopt.
I'll make the motion.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
Which one we got?
It's appropriation.
Second.
You know, we're at.
Yeah. 22.
For the benefit of
Yes.
council, the reason behind this supplemental, and there may be another one at the end of May, is because of the various contracts council has entered into since the permanent appropriations were adopted. And there's 1 or 2 contracts that I know are still out there, but once they get adopted, we'll do another supplemental for those.
So we have a motion and a second on that. Any other discussion? Roll call vote.
Mr. Dickerson.
Yay.
Ms. Gerber.
Yay.
Mr. Pollock.
Yay.
Mr. Thacker.
Yay.
Ms. Elliott.
Yay.
Passes 5-0, 1 absent.
We don't need to do the emergency clause.
Emergency clauses are necessary.
Ordinance 0-2012-23, an ordinance by the Council of Amelia Village authorizing the vacation of a portion of Drake Drive. This will be the first reading. I know there's some questions on this, and hopefully at the next council meeting, we will have somebody here, the developer or the owner, to discuss what this is about. If that suits council.
Would it be possible to get a copy of the plan? Because I know it's a plan development unit. Could we get a copy of that plan before the next meeting so we could have it in front of us if we're going to be listening to them? We'll be able to lay out these.
Talking about the BUB plan.
Yeah.
The initial.
Yeah.
We should be able to do that.
It's somewhere around.
It should be
We
in here.
should be in here somewhere.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mhm.
The only other thing I would like to do at this time, before we move to public input, I would like to get council, someone from council, to make a motion for the chief to go ahead and put out an ad for the advertisement to hire possibly 2 part-time officers.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
That was quick. I got a first one. Any discussion over that?
Motion's to hire 2 part-time
Is
officers.
to advertise.
To advertise.
Advertise for 2 part-time.
Yes.
Thank you.
Do we need to put how many hours a week we need them or not, or it's just
No,
like
part-time.
Okay.
Be up to the chief's discretion.
We got a first, we got a second, right, Kevin?
Yes, we do. Mr.
Roll
Pollock
call
first.
vote, please.
Mr. Dickerson.
Yay.
Ms. Gerber.
Yay.
Mr. Pollock.
Yay.
Mr. Thacker.
Yeah.
Ms. Elliott.
Yay.
Passes 5-0, 1 absent.
All right, thank you. This time, I'd like to open the floor for public input. If you could, come up to the podium, state your name and address, so we'll have it on the record, and then go ahead and state your business.
Anybody else besides me?
It's all right, I'll just stand here. My name's Harry Boots, live up here on East Main. Just came here for two things tonight. One thing was, and you guys already voted on it, was I just come up here to see where we were as far as the safety of the officers and their new vests. I know I don't get a lot of chance to come to meetings because I work at night. Just by chance I was off tonight. Let's go to this meeting because I watch every meeting that's on the internet. And I just, want to come up here and check on this, where as far as the council was, as far as purchasing the vest. I know a couple meetings back, the chief said, there's outdated vests, and I look out just for the safety of the officers. I mean, I would hate for a gun battle or something to go down with an officer being shot. That's a big liability with an officer being shot with an outdated vest. But y'all done agreed on that, that's fine. Second thing is, I've lived in this village off and on since 1984. Seen a lot of police chiefs come and go. I want to commend this chief right here. He's a working chief. I was discussing earlier today with a village officer. This man gets out there in the ditches with his officers and gets his hands dirty. I live up here at 30 East Main where the old Wayne's telling me this. There's nothing for me to come home in the afternoon or in the morning from work. It's nothing for her to come home from work in the afternoon. And there he is sitting out there in front of my house running radar. You see this man. You don't see a lot of village and just different police chiefs out working with his officers. And I just want to say thank you. You get out there and you get the job done. That's it.
We appreciate it. I think everybody on this council here feels exactly the same way you do. We're actually proud of all our police officers. They do a heck of a job.
They do a good job.
Excuse me, sir, could you repeat your last name, please? I didn't hear it.
Booze, B-O-O-Z-E, just like it sounds.
You know about that.
I've heard that about you, Bob.
Reputation get around.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
My name's Tom Barnard, and I live at 19 Woodside Park Drive in Amelia. It's in the Woodside Park subdivision. I've been here before, talking to council about the problem we have in our neighborhood. The number one thing is the Dries Corporation does not want to keep the place clean with their construction. And many calls have been made to them by certain members here, and they'll do it for a while, then they just go away. I received an email back in November of 2011 from David Dries, the president of this company, saying that they would clean every Friday. If they made a big mess, they would clean it up immediately. Well, none of this has ever happened without being prodded over and over. That's the number one thing. The number two thing is the developer, which I understand is Ryan Interest, that they're supposed to take care of the paving of the roads when they get potholes in. There's a major pothole on the East Village Parkway leading into the subdivision, which they've been told many times that it needs fixing, and no one has showed up. In past, just a few months ago, down by the condos, which is another part of Woodside Park, someone came in professionally and did a good job, where they tear out the old blacktop, they put it down smooth, it matches the other, put that rubber seal all the way around, just like they did at the entrance to our subdivision way back when someone did it the first time, maybe 2 or 3 years ago. That's the major problem. As far as, I've been putting signs in my yard, putting down Dries for not doing anything. You have a representative of Dries called Keith McGraw that's selling the houses. Once the house is sold, he wants to have nothing to do with the people. There's been many problems with houses, been brought up to him, and he just, it's like he don't even know who you are. I had a problem yesterday. House being built next to us. They were putting siding on the house. It was a windy day, true. They weren't paying any attention to what they were doing. A 12-foot long box come flying over and hit our siding in the side. Luckily, it didn't do any damage. I mentioned it to them. They didn't even come over and take the box back. I had to throw it back over the little divider thing to separate the. I said something to them about, don't let this happen again. One of their employees, subcontractor, whatever, gave me a foul mouth. He used the F word. I called the police. Officer, I believe Lovins, came out and talked to him. Said they would not tolerate that kind of talk in the neighborhood. Now, I'd like to publicly thank her. I know she's out here tonight, for coming out and taking care of the incident. I believe, let's see, what else I got here? I know some of the neighbors were worried in the neighborhood about the value of their house going down or their property because I've got those signs putting down trees, which as far as I know, I have a right to have those signs. The Amelia rule says it has to be 3 feet back from the sidewalk, and they are 3 feet back from the sidewalk. So I'd like to ask each member of the council here that's here tonight, what is your opinion of these companies? And why can't something be done since they do operate it? Because every time they don't do something, they're thumbing their nose at me, they're thumbing their nose at the mayor, and they're thumbing their nose at the council. It's like they have a permanent get-out-of-jail card, is the way I feel. My brother, Tim, which is here tonight too, from the same address, he feels the same way. So I appreciate your time and your interest. Could we get a response? Or
As far as responding to that,
you want to respond?
I'll talk to you. I mean, for other reasons, really, your personal problems with them is your personal problems, and it's really not the council. So it's really not in their best interest to give their opinion like that. Now, if you want to talk to them outside and they want to talk to you, that's fine. So I hope you understand that.
Yeah, well,
I have to look at the
it's
village's
kind of like
liability
that,
and the
right.
village's responsibilities. So,
Well, with that said, I feel like, in other words, it looks like the companies that work in Amelia could do anything they want.
that they can do. I know I've worked with you.
Right, you
I
have,
just,
and I
I have
appreciate
to
that.
work a little harder, I guess. And I know it's something we keep going on about, but
And I appreciate anything that's been done. So thank you very much for your time, council, mayor. Thank you.
thank you.
Thanks.
Yes.
I'm sure Todd knows me. I'm Tim Berner. I'm Tom Berner's brother. We live at the same address. I didn't want to get up here and say everything the same because I know you don't want to hear just the same old thing. But there's one other thing I'd like to say, and I'd like to say it in the camera. To David Dries and the Dries Company, I'd also like to say it to the developer, and I'd also like to say it to the Homeowners Association and the representative of Dries that lives up the street. What was his name again?
Keith McGraw.
Keith McGraw. If you're so concerned with everything, how come you're not at the council meetings? Have they ever showed up at the council meeting complaining about anything, about what we're doing? No, they never show up. It's like they're a bunch of cowards. They don't want to do anything, but they don't want to show up and complain what we're doing. So I just thought I'd bring that up. They never show up at any of the meetings. So appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tim.
Any other public input? Yes.
Thank you, Council, Mayor. My name's Richard Engel. I live in Woodside Park on Cedarwood Drive. I'm president of the Homeowners Association out there, and I have a few people that have some concerns other than what Tom and Tim had. One of the concerns is on Parkwood, there are numerous children. I'm talking 16 plus, and I've had a resident real concerned with, they got 6 motor cars, the electric ones that are about
Oh, yeah.
bigger than this, and they run up and down the streets all the time. Not the sidewalks, the streets. They're concerned with it. So I told them I would come and address it to council and possibly the chief, I don't know.
Yeah, I would say that question best could probably be answered by chief. I don't know if there's laws
I hear
against
all the
that.
time, this is my second year on the homeowners association, and I hear they can patrol out there, they can't patrol out there. There's no rules, there's no speed limits, there's no, so I wanted to come and just see what it was on that. And if anything can be done. They're concerned that somebody's gonna get hurt. The UPS driver the other day, they told me, actually had to stop in the middle of the road and wait till everybody clear so they could go on. So,
Well, the safety is the number one issue in Amelia, no matter what. You know, no matter if we throw that out there or not, but we'll get out there and we'll.
I mean, these kids are 2, 3.
Or is it battery operated?
Yeah, the battery operated.
So-
You know,
I was out there one time.
where you just see them.
There's supposed to be
Yeah.
sidewalk.
Look at, like a little mini village.
Yeah, it's a real problem for that particular street. We don't see them in the rest of the neighborhood. Also, it was addressed tonight, the park. A lot of concern was, why wasn't the park, the swings and everything getting fixed? I mean, the skate park broke down or vandalized, and it was fixed the next day, you know, a little rushing maybe, next week. But yet, where the kids all play has been boarded up.
We've been working on that. Actually, we had to pull all that the old gravel and the topsoil out for insurance purposes, and now we're putting in the new gravel. And I think, like Ricky said, we're about 80% done, so I look for that to get finished this week. So the holdup's has been the weather on it, so hopefully that'll be open by cleaning green.
Well, that's just hoping that some of the juveniles will, some of the younger kids will move over into the park. And also, I've had a couple concerns about barking dogs. And what is exactly Amelia's rule on barking dogs? I mean, it's getting summertime, you put the windows open, you can't even watch TV.
You call 911 and we'll come.
Is that what?
And usually, it seems like it's always that one person that calls, but it's helpful if more just not to depend on that one person, but other people
Yeah,
call as well.
on Huntsman Trace, I think everyone that lives on that has dogs. My house butts up against, I guess it's Falcon Circle there. And there's a couple houses there that they just, first, I'll see the dogs at least once a week in my yard, because they break out. And then they bark. Now, most of the time they're good, but there's times that they just continually bark. Or they forget they're out and they'll be out all night long, just barking. We're not talking one, we're talking multiple dogs. And I didn't know if there was a set rule or a set law on barking after 10, we'll say, or you know what I'm saying.
There is an
nuisance. It's a plain nuisance.
It doesn't have a time, but you would call it the time of occurrence. So
Okay.
we could go and handle it.
Yeah, I don't want to do anything at this point, but I just almost get to the point where shut them dogs up, firecrackers or something. So anyway, thank the council.
Well, we appreciate you coming, and it's feedback and input from residents like you that make us aware of these things that we don't live where you live because Amelia's stretched out. We don't know these things happen, so I appreciate you coming and giving us the insight on that.
And they're going to do some, just to follow up a little bit, is there any help that maybe we can have as far as cleaning up in the area? The center section, I don't know if you've ever been back in Woodside.
I have seen that.
There's
I
a
have
path
discussed
that's
that.
nice, it goes through everything, and there's a lot of trees, and I'm not doing this on official, but we've got it set up now where we can do 100 volunteers that are actually insured. So we're going to try to do volunteers. But the main thing is just what to do with all of it, unless we get a roll-off in there or something like that.
If you'll get back with me, give us about a 3-week notice when you're going to do something like that. I'll get with Ricky and see what we can do to help out with that.
Okay. Otherwise, I know they'll probably do it.
I know you have volunteers right here that'll come help. I mean, we live in a great community, and you'd be surprised if people need to be made aware of what's going on, let us have the opportunity to do that. So,
Well, we set it up that we're insured now. I think it's up to 100 people, so
Okay.
to do volunteer work in the division there, so that's a help in case anybody's concerned.
all right.
All right, thank you.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Any other public input? Do we have any council input? I have one more thing. Chris, myself, and Derek met and went over our policy manual. We were working very, very hard on that. I hope to have council a rough draft at the next council meeting, so you guys can look at the rough draft policy manual that we're looking to try to implement. So just want to let you know we are working on the policy manual. Please. Yes, I will not forget about one. First is the 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. for the drug disposal, right, Chief, here? So if you have any, dispose of pharmaceutical drugs or who knows whatever other drugs you guys might have you shouldn't have, you can bring them here. They won't ask questions, and they will get rid of them for you. So, and the second thing is the Clean and Green Spring Cleanup. It's at 9 a.m. till noon at Grove Park. Any volunteers that would like to come, please do. If you have any questions about it, you can call Julie here at the office, and she will give you all the lowdown. We have hot dogs and soda pop and T-shirts. So I hope to see a lot of people there. Any other council input? Next council meeting will be Tuesday, May 8th, 2012 at 7 p.m. At this time, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?